Hello. So this is part 2 of my farmer boy illustration process video or tutorial. And if you have seen the first part, we ended it with painting the backgrounds, and right now everything is dry. And I'm just adding some extra bits of quinacridone gold here and there where I see that it's not dark enough. So I'm using my Escoda Perla size 10 brush as usual for that, and I'm fading it out into the background layer which is already there with the same color so that it is seamless and there are no harsh edges anywhere. And here I would just use common sense or just have a look at it. I always say in my tutorials, like sometimes from time to time, sit back and have a look at your painting as a whole and just add the color to areas that you see is a little bit faded or not as good as you want it to be. So that's what I'm doing right here. And the other thing that is important, at least to me, is that there are no harsh edges along the way. Later on, I'm going to experiment more with, just the natural way watercolor is, like flowing and harsh edges and stuff like that. But here in this particular illustration, I want a seamless background, as seamless as possible. After I'm happy with that, I'm gonna put on my gloves so I don't smudge my painting, and I'm going to use this bright green color by White Nights. Unfortunately, I don't have my uh, my card that had all the shade names, so I cannot tell you which one it is. But if you have White Nights paint set, for example, like I bought a 24 pen set, then you will probably find this shade. Like this is the brightest green that there is in the set. Otherwise, just use a green that has some yellow in it. I mean, obviously green has yellow in it, has some more yellow in it than blue, so that is kind of a yellowish green. And I'm going to cover the greenish part of the tractor. And for that, this brush comes in so handy because it has the pointy end, so I don't have to worry about the lines being wavy or ragged. I don't know how to say that in English. So that it's a clear line, a clear sharp line wherever I want it to be, where the outline of the tractor is. So that is a very bonus point for me, at least when it comes to brushes. And this is one of the reasons why Escoda is my favorite brand at the moment. And I have a little bit of a tricky situation here because I wanted the main focus on the boy. However, I drew the sketch of this toy tractor because I wanted to add a little detail of what might he be spending his free time doing. So it's just a little personal detail of the boy. I don't know about you, but I really love colorful illustrations. So whenever I'm painting, I'm always trying to make sure to use as many different colors as possible. I know some artists who use a lot more colors than I do, but yeah, I still have somewhere to grow, I guess, and to evolve. And even now, like the most recent painting that I did is so much more colorful than this one, but I'm pretty happy with this as well as far as shapes and colors and details go. So that's the benefit, that's the pro of watercolor, that you always have something new to try, you always have somewhere to grow, to go from what you are creating. So at least I never feel like I'm perfect or I know it all. And it's a really good thing for me, at least, because even in my previous jobs, I always had this feeling that if I can't learn something, if I can't develop myself or improve myself, then what's the point of going, or what's the point of that job position that I'm in? So right now I'm wetting the area where the boy's trousers are. I think he kind of has jeans on that are not full length, and I'm going to use phthalo blue to color it. I just want to make sure before that all areas are wet that I want to color, and not too wet, maybe just damp. And then I'm going to grab my color and just try to determine the lightest points. And I think it's important, I don't always do that, but it's important to put down the paint where the darkest colors are, because then you can, just kind of drag the color towards the middle area, which is the most highlighted part. So I did switch just a minute ago to size 4 Escoda Perla, and that's because of the small details of the trousers that I want to catch. Like the edge is kind of wavy as it wrinkles around the boy's body, so naturally I want to create some creases there, but I don't want it to be too detailed or fully detailed, because that's not what I'm going for right here. So as you can see, I'm putting down the color at the edge of the trousers, which I think is the darkest part of the overall jeans, and I'm dragging it towards the inner part where it's going to be the most highlighted area. And later on I'm gonna come back and do a second layer, but right now I think the most important bit is to, first of all, to add color to that white area, and secondly to just to determine where my highlight is going to be and where I want it to be the lightest point and the darkest point. And then it's just a matter of balancing, as I usually say. And then let's do the left side, or the boy's right leg. And I'm just doing the exact same, putting down the most color, the darkest bits where I think it should be the darkest, and then just slowly, carefully dragging it along to create a smooth effect. And it is a great question how to stay in the line, how to not to go over and color for example, the boy's arm right here or the ground below. And I think this just comes with practice, and I hate hearing that. I don't like to hear that. I want a trick. I want a quick solution for my problem. But As I learned watercolor, I had to realize that this is the truth. There is nothing new to it. You just have to keep practicing, I think, for your whole lifetime, probably. And as you grow older, as the more time you spend painting with watercolors, the better you will be at it. And that's just so true. Like, no matter what I teach here or what I'm going to say to you, how to paint, you have to try and experiment, and then you will learn this medium. Right now I'm painting the top of the boy's jeans, right where it's meet his knee. And I'm just adding some color to the edge to make sure that it is seamless throughout the jeans for now, and later on I will just keep adding more and more color to it. And I'm going to add some creases to the boy's bottom. It's just to, I was kind of just experimenting of how to make it a little bit more realistic than it is right now. And later on I will realize that first of all what I'm doing now is great. It's just adding some contours to the inner parts as well, and making sure that there is a clear line between the ground and the boy's body or trousers. And secondly, I have to just keep add color. Keep adding more and more color. So here I'm just dipping my paintbrush in the same tail blue, and I'm adding slowly but surely a little bit more saturation with each brush stroke, although I'm very careful because at this point I just don't know how far I want it to be gone, how much darkness I still want in this painting. And also I want to make sure that it's a seamless transition. Like right now there is a stripe, if you can see, on the right hand side of the trousers, and it's a bit of a clear edge. It's not a straight line, but it's not as smooth as I want it to be. The transition between the darkest shade and the middle shade and then the highlights. So I've got to keep working on that until I'm happy. And of course I need to make the inner contour a bit darker as well, as I'm darkening the whole trousers. Next I'm going to add another bit of green area to the green surface, to the green tractor. And the reason why I waited until now is because I want a clear line between the different elements of the tractor. Like I don't want to contour it all the way, but I want to make sure that it's not a whole seamless piece, as it is not in real life. Like the upper portion is a separate piece from the one that it goes vertically, and I want to indicate that. And this is why I waited a little bit until the first few bits dry down. So you can see now how where the two lines meet there is a clean edge, a clean color, like a straight line. And that's what I wanted to be creating there. Now I'm adding a little bit of phthalo blue to the socks, to the sock that is lying on the ground. And it's just a little bit of an extra detail that I wanted to add to the sock. And of course I gotta paint the same area for the other sock as well. Now I gotta grab my yellowish green that I colored the tractor before, and I'm just going to color this wheel protector area. I don't know the real name of that. And I'm just gonna use my Escoda Perla size 4 brush, so just to make sure that I can paint along the fine details of the wheel. to paint that green as well. And then it kind of seems like there is no reason for me to grab a paint and paint a little bit here and there. But the main reason why I do this, that I paint a little bit of the socks, a little bit of the trousers and the tractor, and after that I'm going to paint the boy's right leg, is because I don't want colors to be bleeding together. Later on I'm going to be much braver, and I'm just going to paint without one surface drying, one area drying. I'm going to paint right next to it. But for that, to be that brave, you need time and you need to be more experienced. And some people just have that confidence right from the beginning, but I don't, I haven't. So that is my reasoning for painting kind of a little bit of here and a little bit of there, is that I don't want these colors to be bleeding together. Later on I won't mind at all, because I think it's just beautiful, and it is the true beauty of watercolor, that it's just, it has a life of its own, you know. Now what I'm doing is using a very diluted mixture of quinacridone, quinacridone coral and yellow ochre. That is my usual skin tone, as at least for now. Later on I'm going to be more brave in that area as well. And first of all I painted a single layer wet on dry, and now wet on wet I'm going to add slowly but surely more and more saturation to the edges to get a clear color, I mean a clear shadow and highlighted area, as well as color. Using a very diluted quinacridone burnt orange, I'm going to color the middle parts of the wheels with this color, and I don't really mind or care for the shadowing at this point. And I'm also going to cover with this color the windows, which is kind of, I think, made from plastic probably. So I just wanted to add a bit of a color, not too much, just a little bit of color to that, to indicate that there is something there, like it's not just completely white or empty space. And also it's a good trick to get a little bit of focus away, because wherever you're going to leave it white, then the eyes will naturally be drawn there, and I don't want so much focus on the toy. And then I will add the second layer of quinacridone burnt orange, as I realized that it's probably best if I add some more color to it, more darkness. And then there is a tiny bit of area right above the back wheel, which is not green and is not part of the wheel either. So I'm just going to color it with Van Dyke brown, which is my darkest brown. And that's just an extra detail for that toy. And I'm going to create eyes for the tractor with the same Van Dyke brown that I used before for the shadowing of the tractor. And those are just two little circles with some white parts or some brighter parts in the middle. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and paint the boy's eye as well. And that is some part where I hold my breath back because I'm so super excited. Like whenever I see a painting which includes people, I'm drawn to the gaze of the people, and I think naturally most people are. So I always want to get it perfect, and I hardly ever am satisfied with the end result. But here you can see me ever so carefully painting the gaze of the boy, leaving a small white part towards the bottom of his eyeball to indicate that he's looking down. His right side of his t-shirt, which is going to be quinacridone, gold, and raw umber. After that we are going to paint the boy's hair, and then we are almost done with the white bits. And still almost half of this painting tutorial is ahead of us, so there is plenty to do. So wet on dry, I'm going to mimic hair strokes, hair strings with yellow ochre at first. And just making sure it kind of looks like falls like hair. And then I'm going to mix in some raw umber to create shadows and darkest areas for the hair bit. I'm a visual kind of person, so I don't explain it all the way, but if you have any questions regarding how I painted the hair or how exactly I paint certain details, then you can leave a comment and I will sure to be helping you out. But my main focus is that hair tend to be darker when it falls, where it falls around the face. So that's my main focus right here, and to leave some areas highlighted. Otherwise, I'm just mimicking hair, how I think it falls around the head. It's time to add the last bit of color to our green tractor. And then I will go ahead and start creating the fine lines and the fine details around the boy's face. Starting right now with his eyebrows and using raw umber. And as soon as I lay down my hair strings, I see that I was way too brave right here and I shouldn't have been. So I'm just going to grab a tissue and lift up some of the colors. And I'm using Escoda Perla size 0 brush here. And I'm just going to go ahead and using raw umber contour the boy's eye so that it has a beautiful shape and it has some meaning and a gaze. And then I'm going to continue by contouring the ear and the chin area. And right now this boy already has more life to him than he did before. And you can sort of see where this whole painting is going. I just lifted up some color because it was too harsh, at least for my taste. There are some areas, some rooms where you can fix your mistakes with watercolor. However, there isn't too much that you can do once you have gone too dark. Right now I'm contouring the tip of his nose to give his face some shape and the back of his neck as well. I just wanted this so badly, like this is my favorite part when it all kind of comes together. So even though the trousers are not ready, my tractor's wheels are not ready, they are completely white at this point. I just wanted to color the boy's facial features because I wanted to see how beautiful it's going to be. And once we are done with the contouring, we are going to start with the long process of creating a wooden floor beneath the boy. And I did pre-sketch the lines that I am painting right now. So using Escoda Perla size 0 and Schmincke paint, which is burnt sienna, I'm going to carefully paint these straight lines. And at first I'm going very light-handed with this because it's not very easy to paint that straight over lines, even though it was pre-sketched before. And then later on I'm going to add more color, a lot more color actually. But right now we are just going to map out what later on will be a quite long web process. And when we are done with the floor, I'm just going to grab my indigo color and color the wheels, which is the most exciting thing ever. I never done this before, so I was pretty excited for what is to come, what is going to become of this tractor toy. And I'm using Escoda Perla size 4 brush here for that. By the way, indigo that I'm using is by White Nights. It's the cheapest possible color ever that I still like. All the cheaper ones I think are not quality enough. But this by White Nights is a pretty beautiful color, and it does magic to illustrations. And it can become quite harsh very easily because it's such a dark color. For most artists use it to replace black. Black is not a very widely loved color amongst illustrators because it's not a natural color. And so if you are just following this tutorial, be mindful of that. Maybe use your palette to mix some of the indigo with water already, so that it's there handy for you, and you can use a middle tone to color these wheels. And this is the end of part 2 of this tutorial. There is one last bit that I'm going to share with you as soon as the audio is ready. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye!